All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is Martin Pia Lanslute, part of Ask the Building Expert webinar series, and I'm happy that we're starting on time. Well, we usually start on time anyway, but I'm also happy that the webinar is at 9 o'clock Hawaii Standard Time. I'm giving another webinar tomorrow for a large mainland national mainland seminar webinar provider, and I have to start at 5 a.m. So I guess I got to get up early tomorrow. So what's our topic today? Rebuilding your home after wildfire. Now, let me go through some slides here. Ask the building expert. This webinar is presented by Construction Management Inspection, which is a construction management firm located in Honolulu, Hawaii, although we do serve certain mainland states, the ones that are close to fly from Hawaii to the West Coast, and including Nevada, where Las Vegas is. And rebuilding your home after wildfire. Now, this applies to any type of home anywhere in the world. It could be in Hawaii or any part of the United States. Believe it or not, um, if you look on a current map of wildfires, like current wildfires in the United States, and it shows the map of the US, and there's a lot of red dots, which means that there's all these different wildfires. I mean, there's so many red dots, it looks almost like I'm looking at after the election campaign or something like that. But most of the dots are located on the west side and the east side of the United States, not too much in the middle. Specific states are Oregon, California, New Jersey, Idaho. I think there was some Colorado. Um, what do you think? Which state do you think has the most wildfires? Martha, do you know? Take a guess.
Oh, my guess would be California, where they get all the trees.
Yeah, you're right. Well, not because they have all the trees, but they do have trees, but because there's more wildfires. And historically, the reason why we have more wildfires is the climate change. And the wildfire season actually is longer now than previous years, and because the land is drier, so you have a lot of dry brush and vegetation and all that, and it's a lot easier for that type of material to catch on fire. And it could be humans starting the fire because they're purposely doing it, or because of neglect, like they're camping and they don't put their campfire out totally. The wind comes up and it starts spreading the embers. Or it could be natural causes such as lightning and other factors like that. Now, most people would live in a house or in a building, a structure, and there's basically today there's three main types of building materials that are used. It's wood, steel, and concrete. Now, you may be living in a cave or in a structure that's made out of stone, but that's in the old days. Now, there's other minor changes to that, but for the most part, that's the building materials that are used today. So let's go right through it. And the information that I'm going to provide applies to rebuilding your home totally, or maybe part of it caught on fire and you got to do some renovation work. That applies to. I was at a site of a fire uh, several days ago, in Manoa, which is in the Honolulu proper. And the fire started because there was too close to a gas water heater. And there was a flame that ignited the clothes, which in turn ignited the rest of the house. So just a heads up that if you have a gas water heater, don't store anything flammable next to the water heater. So where to begin, the first steps. And some of this may be after the fact that I'm letting you know, but let's talk about it anyway. Uh, After the fire or a disaster, you want to access safety and health systems, contact authorities and your insurance, document damage and losses. Secure temporary housing, uh, disconnect your utilities and services or contact them. And I put this review emergency plan. This is after the fact. You should have an emergency plan, evacuation plan in place for any type of natural disaster, any type of disaster, whether it's a fire, hurricane, flood, tornado, what have you. Okay, so uh, every household should have a emergency plan. If you live in a single family house, yes. If you live in a high-rise condo building or apartment building, yes, too. Okay, everybody should have the plan. What happens if there's a fire in the house? Do people in the house know where to go? Do you know what to do? Is there a specific meeting place so you can be sure that everybody's accounted for? Things like that, you should be aware of. Now, I'm going to talk about the Lahaina fire right now, but this applies to any kind of fire. And I know in California, there's a big fire called the Mountain Fire that's going on now. After the first couple of days when I got the report, and there was where you have the percentage of containment, and it said 0% contained. I mean, that's a scary thought. After a couple of days, the fire's going on, it's 0% contained. Or some fires going on for a week or two, and then it's 30 or 40% contained. And it's because the accessibility. If the fire's burning on a mountain, it's not like the fire truck can drive, right to the fire, right? A lot of times the fire personnel have to hike in miles with heavy gear, and they use helicopters, airplanes, and things like that. It's not that easy to put out a fire in the wilderness, in a forest. So in any case, once a house burns down or series of houses burns down, you start off with, well, where's the property boundaries? So you want to get a survey map, and then a topo stands for topographical, and a topographical map is measuring the height of things. If it's not a flat lot, if your lot is on a hill or a mountain, there's steep areas, it could be terraces and all that. The topo map would outline the height of the land, so a designer, engineer would know how to design the foundation of the house because it's not flat. Rebuilding a house on a flat lot is a lot simpler than designing the foundation of a house that's sitting on a mountain or on a cliff, right? So that's pretty obvious. So survey and topographical map, those are the first things. And then in addition to those two things, there's what's called a site assessment, topographic mapping, soil analysis, like what is the condition of the soil? Can we rebuild a new house on the existing soil? Or is there another situation where the soil maybe is not that good and we have to dig out the bad soil and bring in better soil or engineered fill or gravel or something like that, right? Is there a lot of rock? So let's say that your house is two 1-story house and you're planning on building a new 2-story, right? Or going into making a basement. If there's huge rocks there that can't be taken out, you might have to abandon those plans and build above ground rather than below. Also, the building permit requirements, that's a big hassle. And I've always been the one to say when someone's house burns down, the city government, county government, whatever the case may be, I know some areas on the mainland, the local jurisdiction of the building department is a county situation, and some may be city. That's why I'm saying city and or county. So I'm always of the mindset that if a house burns down and there was already a permit, allow the people to rebuild their house under the same permit without having to wait and reapply for a permit, wait 2 years or longer. I mean, that's like totally ridiculous, right? Also, there's environmental considerations. So the lot must be cleared and hazmat free. There cannot be any asbestos or mold or lead or gas or oil and stuff on the property. So the other thing is infrastructure assessment. You're going to hook up your house to the electrical utility, your main water, your sewer, and all that. Is that available? A lot of times when there's a huge wildfire, a lot of the utilities get destroyed. There's no electrical, no water service, and all that. So that's working in concert with the government and various utility companies, the electric, cable, internet, water, sewer, that kind of thing. And then your survey report. So when you're building a new house, you want to make sure that you're building your house and your walls inside your own property. And that's why you need a survey. Uh, if you have setbacks too, you got to be sure that your house is not too close to any side yards or front yards that would be an encroachment and would not be legal. Okay, so all these things take into consideration. Hire a construction manager or consultant. I'm always a firm believer in that because that's what I do. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but hire somebody or maybe use the project architect or use a contractor that knows how to build a house as a third party and have him come and do inspections and all that. This is very important. I know on bigger projects, especially when you're getting a bank loan, the lender always requires a construction manager. You cannot just hire the contractor directly and have the contractor submit his pay applications and it's all good. There has to be a third party oversight. And normally the construction manager is called a consultant or owner's representative or developer's representative or some third party person that's going to oversee the whole project like a project manager. There's a design team. You want to hire your design team, which consists of an architect and various engineers. Now, the architect is the main principal designer. And then on, let's say, a single family house, you might have a soil engineer or geotechnical engineer, a structure engineer, electrical engineer, mechanical engineer. Okay? If you're rebuilding a commercial property, you're going to need more engineers than what I mentioned. You're going to need a fire protection engineer, landscape architect, maybe a building envelope engineer, which has to do with the exterior of the building, making sure there's no leaks from your windows or any wall penetrations, roof doors, that kind of thing. So that's the design team to design whatever house you're building. It could be a small house or a big mansion. It doesn't matter. It's pretty much the same concept and the same design personnel. Okay. And then hiring a contractor. But before you hire a contractor, you would go out to bid. And you have the set of plans and specifications made, and then you have these contractors come, look at the property, look at the plans, and turn in their written proposal. And make sure the written proposal includes everything turnkey, and especially with what you want. If there's changes on the plans, make sure that's noted too, and put everything in writing. Now, let's fast forward to you hire the contractor, he starts construction. Now you want somebody, and this is where your construction manager or consultant comes in. Okay, you want to make sure that you have periodic inspections. So as every month there's a percentage of construction that's being completed, you want that person to be there to inspect the work. It doesn't make any sense for him to show up, him or her to show up at the start of the construction and then come at the end when everything's done. How is he going to inspect inside the walls to look for electrical, plumbing, hurricane ties, and those kind of things? So you would want inspections done. Now, yes, it's costly, but it's worth it. And then when the house is being finished, you want a final inspection and you want to participate as the owner to make a punch list. So your consultant, construction manager would make their own list, and you as the owner have a right to make your own list also. Then you combine the two lists. And it doesn't matter how minor the thing is, the item is, write it down and then talk to the contractor. Okay, and the contractor may say, oh, that's not in the contract, or we'll have somebody come and touch up this paint or fix this problem or something like that. Okay, so the final inspection, it could be called a punch list inspection too. So I kind of briefly went over different things, but I'm not sure what happened to the other section of the PowerPoint. Hold on a second. Okay, I think a section was missing here, but anyway, um, so I'll I'll talk about. I don't have the slides for this. I don't know what happened, but when we talk about building materials, okay, so you have your foundation. So for the most part, it's a concrete slab. Okay, if you're not building a raised foundation, if it's a raised foundation, it's normally going to be constructed of wood. Now, the best kind of material to use would be concrete, right? Concrete, poured in place concrete, or form concrete, okay? Or could be precast concrete, or could be concrete blocks such as hollow tile, CMU construction. Okay, that's the best type of product to use, in my opinion. Although you could still use wood or steel, okay? Um, but make sure that your house siding is constructed with material that's going to be protect the house from a fire or burning. So in other words, you might not want to use just wood. You might want to use fiber cement panels or uh, stucco or some other material that's not going to burn like wood, wood. And then also your windows, make sure your windows aren't the cheap windows that are just going to melt and burn like vinyl windows, as opposed to aluminum or steel, right? Metal. And then that's your protection. The other thing is your roofing material. There's different roofing materials that can easily burn, and you don't want to use that, because when you think about it, what is the first thing when there's a wildfire and there's wind? Where do the embers land? They land on the roof, the roofs of houses, right? So if your house roof was concrete or metal, then it's not going to burn. But if it's a different kind of material that can burn or catch on fire, then that's not as good, right? So to build your house, you want to make sure that you use all these different materials and do the research, right? Ask your architect, what's the best material to use? And then weigh the options, because if you build your house so that it doesn't catch on fire when there's a wildfire, of course it's going to be way more expensive than a house that doesn't have the building components to protect from a fire. Okay, so um, there's different types of building materials, and you got to do the research or have your architect do the research or your consultant, and 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 then when you get the quotes, then you can talk to the contractor and have your contractor tell you, well, if we use this type of siding, it's going to be X amount. If we use this, it's going to be, this price. Also, if you want your house totally made out of concrete, it's going to be way more than if we make it out of wood, because it's a different material, right? So slowly people are switching. And then also check with your insurance company and whoever else you need to. Now, if there's a wildfire, it doesn't make sense to rebuild exactly the same house that was there before, especially when the house is built in the 50s or 60s. The building codes change every 3 years. So you wanna build, and you're supposed to build to today's building code or today's building code. So which the building codes are stricter now. And in fact, there's discussion because of the numerous wildfires that there's going to be a separate section on wildfire and mitigation and different building materials. In some areas, probably California is going to be the first state to require certain materials to be used in addition to your normal what the building code recommends. Okay, so is there still going to be houses made out of wood? Yes, there is, but there's different ways to build a house, right? Instead of using wood studs, contractors are using metal studs. That's why when you drive around town, you look at housing being built, you see all this metal instead of wood. Okay, so there's going to be a change, and it's happening now, and people are more aware. Now, there could be a toss-up, and you would have to decide, like if the budget doesn't allow to use all these specific fire resistive building materials, then there's going to be a trade-off, right? The other important thing is, and I'm kind of moving from the idea of the building materials to your landscaping. You don't want to plant bushes or trees too close to your house. There should be like a 30-foot buffer away, uh, provided you have a lot of land. If you don't, then just be aware that you don't want big trees or bushes and plants that can dry up too close to your house, because when those plants catch on fire, then it also can ignite your house too. So be aware of the surroundings and your trees and things like that. I know some people who had nice trees in their yard, and they cut it down because they're worried about the tree catching on fire, and then now the leaves blowing on their roof. Okay, so be aware of those things. So that's kind of a recap uh, of the rebuilding your house after a wildfire. Now, I also have some websites which I'll talk to you about. But let me go through this. We'll skip over the conclusion. I'll talk about that later. What you missed, previous webinars we're giving on all types of building and construction topics. You go to our website and you can watch the webinars for free. What's coming up? We have our last webinar in December on holiday safety, and I'm talking about electrical, holiday lighting, Christmas tree protection, and those kind of things. So here's our website, askbuildingexpert.now.site. We have a lot of information on there, previous webinars we've given on almost every single topic on buildings and construction. We have PowerPoints that you can download. We have a bunch of books that you can get. To date, I've written and published over 35 books that you can get for free by going to our website. You better snatch it now, because I'm not sure how long they're going to be available for free, because my team's converting everything over to the direction of Amazon, which people are going to have to actually buy the books. So just giving you a heads up early on. And then you got questions, I got answers. I know there's people who joined us on our Zoom platform, and thank you for joining us. And I see a bunch of people here, Paula, Linda. Some of them, they tell me don't mention their names. So Linda, I saw yesterday. So at a real estate seminar. So that was cool. And then thank you for those watching on our various social media platforms, which would be Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So if you got any questions, you can post it on our Zoom platform, or if you're watching on our social media, you can post on social media. If you're not watching live, then you can still post your questions or comments, and we'll get to you. We never miss responding to anybody, because if we do, then they contact us and say, hey, I posted something, you never responded. Oh, sorry, we got too busy, or I guess we missed it. So we appreciate you guys attending from Hawaii and all over the US and even all over the world. This is a very important subject, because it just is crazy what's happening, and even the things that I talked about, not only from a wildfire but from a hurricane, tornado, or flood, the rebuilding concept is pretty much the same. So I'll leave it at that, and then I'll turn it over to Martin to see if we have any questions or comments from anybody. Also, before Martin comes on, if you guys have any topics that you want covered, I may have already covered it in past or previous webinars, so check the list, but if it's not, and you have a suggestion, let us know, and we'll be happy to talk to our team to consider it. So we're able to make decisions fairly fast. We don't operate uh, like a big corporation where it takes a couple of months to turn the ship 1 degree. So, and we like that because we're in control and we're able to do things faster, better, and provide the information to you as you need it. So let me bring Martin on and see if we have any questions or comments. So Martin,
Yes, Lance. We
okay.
just got a couple of questions, and I can ask you those right away. The other thing too is, for some reason, I have the slide show that had a lot of the detailed materials on it, so I wasn't sure if you wanted to
Oh,
share
do
that.
you have it? Which
I think so. I think you just need to unshare.
which one is that? You want to share it?
Yeah, let me try to see if I can bring that up. I've got to do the screen share, yeah.
Okay, hold on. I don't know. Maybe I clicked on the wrong one.
Yeah. Well, if you unshare, then I'll see if I can
Okay,
share the screen.
hold on. Let me.
Okay.
Okay, so sorry, I'm going through this whole iteration here.
No, no problem. No problem.
Gonna
I'm
find
just
the.
kind of trying to see how to share the PowerPoint.
Okay, I'm not even sharing.
Okay, let me see if I can bring it up. Okay.
If you can, that'll be good.
Yeah, yeah. Let me see. You see it now?
Yeah, I
You
see
see,
it.
you see the screen. Let me just see if I can go through them for you, and then this is the
Okay, hold on. Let me.
yeah. I have this one that has all the materials thing.
Oh, okay. Should I go back? Okay, so good. You know what happened? I think I know what happened. I clicked on the first PowerPoint that got revised. So sorry. Okay, so let's go. I'll say next slide, and then you
Okay,
can advance it since I don't have
okay,
control over it.
sure. I mean, this is the same intro, but this was the first one which starts
Oh,
talking
okay,
about
good.
materials.
Yeah, that looks more familiar. Sorry
Yeah,
about that,
I
folks.
thought that might be the
Jeez,
one.
terrible of me. You should kick me off as a presenter. Okay,
Oh,
so um, let's. This is what I wanted to talk about. That somehow I got a I got caught off guard because the slides weren't there. But importance of selecting the right building materials. So, of course, the right building materials is going to save, right? So, um, and I got importance of selecting the right building materials, ensuring sustainability, resilience, and safety of buildings in Lahaina, but it could apply to California, Colorado, Mississippi, Idaho, New Jersey, anywhere. Um, the commitment to sustainability, resilience, and safety. Well, we want to create structures that can withstand environmental challenges while, of course, minimizing ecological footprint. And then the goals for the community in Lahaina or other parts that suffered from wildfires around the United States. We want to make sure that everything, all the houses are built properly, and we could sustain. And if there's ever a wildfire in the future, which we hope never happens, that the homes can withstand. So next slide. So let's talk about sustainable woods. So there's some woods that are sourced from other parts of the U.S. that are better to sustain fires, or can last longer in the weather. We want to know what those is. Materials used, there's engineered wood products that are actually uh, not wood that's just from the tree. It's actually processed with other products for structural integrity and sustainability, and even for fire prevention. So next slide. Fire resistant materials, right? So we want to know what materials are fire resistant, like roofing, siding, exterior cladding, exterior uh, metal or fiber cement siding materials for sustainability, for in case of a fire, or uh, heavy rain, or even heavy wind. So next. So there's different types of concrete and masonry to use that everyone knows that the block tile concrete can withstand fires to a certain degree. So we want to make sure that we use those kind of materials while we're building. So next slide. Also, energy efficient insulation. There's blown in, there's sheet insulation for energy efficiency, reduce utility costs, maintain comfortable indoor temperatures year round. In the old days when houses were built with single family houses with single wall construction, there was no insulation because there was nowhere to put it, because it was single wall, it wasn't double wall. So um, the code now requires double wall construction. So that's a given already. And then make sure you have insulation in between the walls and up in the roof. So next slide. Impact resistant windows and doors, like I mentioned before, right? Hurricane proof. You want to make sure that your frames can't just burn and melt in the event there's a fire. Also reduce costs, maintaining comfortable indoor temperatures year round. So you want to make sure that you read the spec sheets and all that, that you look at the test results, because all these materials were tested. They have to be tested to get the rating for uh, wind rating, hurricane rating, even fire safety rating. So next slide. Roofing materials. You want to use high quality roofing materials, but they're durable, they last long, and also for fire prevention. So next slide. Paint. Believe it or not, there's different types of paint. There's uh, types of paint which can give off gases and they're toxic, and then you got some that are more safe. So VOC is a volatile organic compound. So it comes with paint and different finishes, painting, waterproofing, harmful emissions. You want to make sure that, well, right now there's no lead in the paint because lead was banned in 1977, 78. So you don't have to worry about that. Next slide. Recycled sustainable building products. So you want to look into it, right? So what materials can be of what recycled that can be reused as new building material, and then also it reduces waste and your carbon footprint. Next. So water resistant materials. So especially in the case of a hurricane or flood, or when the house is on fire, and uh, hopefully the fire department comes to put it out, right? Uh, you want to make sure you have water resistant materials for your siding, your roofing, and all that. Even in coastal environments, close to the beach, water penetration So the benefits, water intrusion protection against flooding and moisture damage. And flooding could also mean uh, from hurricane, tsunami, and even fire department trying to put the fire out. Next slide. Okay, Martin, you did a good job. So the conclusion, insights is do your own research, contact your architect, your contractor to get ideas on what kind of materials to use. It might not be available, but at least you know about it. Because not all building materials are available, especially in Hawaii. It's not like we can truck any kind of building material in from California or Washington, right? It has to be put on a boat on the water. So let's get into the Q&A now since we're done. We have other slides besides that one? No, yeah.
Oh, I can, let me
Yeah, that's
share.
okay. We're good. So let's do the Q&A now. And thank you for finding that. I clicked on the wrong PowerPoint.
No problem, no problem. Yeah, the first question that came in here is, given Lahaina's history with wildfires, um, how can homeowners retrofit existing buildings with fire-resistant materials without having to completely rebuild? That's the first part of the question that came in. And the second part is, are there any specific materials or techniques you would recommend?
Okay. If the house is totally gone, then you're starting from scratch. So basically, you just have to go with whatever the architect designed, right? So the idea is you want to meet with the architect first to go over different building materials and what can be used with the awareness that you want to be protected in case there's another fire, if there's another fire. Okay, and then um, what was the second part?
Okay, the second part was, are there any specific materials or techniques you would recommend?
Oh, okay. Well, I basically um, don't necessarily recommend specific products, although there's certain products in a category such as uh, fiber cement panels, a company called Hardy that makes that, and there's also other brands too. But the architect should specify, the designer should specify each type of material and make sure it's noted on the plans and the set of specifications for the contractor. And then also the bidding contractors, you might ask them, oh, what do you recommend? Uh, this is something new, okay, because there hasn't been any history in Hawaii of rebuilding large neighborhoods because of a fire. So this is something fairly new, and right now it's a case by case basis. But on the mainland, there's a lot of data, a whole bunch of data, because it's been happening on the mainland way before it happened in Lahaina. So there's a lot of information out there. You just got to do your research and talk to people. Um, the government has information too about what you can, building materials you can use and things like that. So um, yeah, it's all out there. If you have a hard time, contact us and we can point you in the right direction.
Okay, good. The next question that came in is, for those of us who are starting to rebuild our homes after the recent disasters, what's the best way to balance sustainability with affordability? The second part to it is, are there certain materials that offer the best long-term value?
Okay, so I'll answer the second part first. Long-term value would be concrete, the use of concrete, either poured in place or uh, form concrete that was at the factory that uh, It's already made and they truck it. They truck columns and panels and sections to the job site. And um, there's a term called tilt-up construction where they have these walls made out of concrete, and they're not made on site. They're made in a factory and trucked to the site and then tilted up to form, the walls of the house and things like that. So uh, that's the method, a different method of constructing with concrete. They also, the long time use of CMU blocks, concrete blocks, high tile blocks. People call them cinder blocks. Um, that's been known to prevent fires also. So if you look at photos of houses that were built with concrete or with CMU blocks, those structures are still standing after fire, as opposed to the wood frame ones that kind of burnt down. So there's a difference. So long term, that's the kind of material to use. Now, when you're talking about sustainability or affordability, that's a different story, because if you tell the architect, just design something that I'm going to be protected in the case of a fire, it's not affordable for the most part. So there has to be a trade-off between what material is the least expensive that still serves the purpose. The other thing is sustainability. Some people go, I didn't just need to build my house. I don't care about sustainability or saving the world or using recycled materials or whatever. I just need to, I'm living at a hotel or at my cousin's house. I need to build my house and move back in, right? So that's something that is always top of mind too. So it may be a case of, if I had the time to consider, yeah, I would go that route, but I need to put up my house fast because I need to move in. So that's the hard balance there. There's a fine line to that. So, and I don't blame people. They've been waiting 2 years to get their permits, right? They need to start building. That's why right in the beginning, I always said to the city, county of Maui, let the people just build. Whatever house is there, let them rebuild without having to get a permit. The house is permitted already, right? As long as you have a permit on record, and let the architect sign off on it, and then worry about it later, right? At least people have a place to move into. But did they listen to me? No. No. But I make my comments, and I think it's very good comments, but it's just this whole red tape bureaucracy. But I mean, people are building now. They've gotten permits, and the county of Maui is moving along. Um, it's not easy reviewing all the plans, so it doesn't happen overnight. But to me, it should be faster. But uh, yeah, other questions?
Good answer on that one. Thanks, Lance. There's just one more that came in here, and it's the question is, with Lahaina's coastal location, flooding is a big concern for us. What water-resistant materials do you recommend for rebuilding homes near the shoreline? And the second part to this one, we seem to get a lot of these two-part questions, is how can we ensure these materials last in such a harsh environment?
Okay, so let me say this. If your house is located right on the beach, and it's going to be subject to high tide and erosion and all that, and your house is in a situation where you could fall in the water, there's no building materials that you can use. So, in a situation of uh, if you're farther away, yeah, you could use more weather-resistant materials, such as the siding that I talked about. Uh, wood gets too weathered, but you have to paint more often. So you just got to be aware of the different types of building products to use in that kind of environment. So um, you can't fight with Mother Nature. So if you're living on a cliff subject to erosion, that it's really not much you can do. Got any other questions? Martin, I think you're muted. Martin, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, I got muted. So
Yeah.
I was just checking the social. I don't see any other questions on here, and I'm not sure if you had any
What
from
about
our
on our
audience
Zoom
on Zoom. Yeah.
platform? There's that other question.
Um, oh, the second part was how can we ensure these materials last in such a harsh environment? Is that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I already addressed that.
Yeah, and the first part was about water resistant materials
What
recommended.
about, wasn't there 3 that came in? I know we talked about 1 and 3, but what about 2?
2 was the affordability question. The second
Oh,
one.
okay. We talked
Yeah.
about that already.
Yeah, yeah, we did.
Okay.
I think we got thrown off by the split PowerPoint, so
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Okay. Um, you check the social media. There's
Yeah, I did.
we're all good.
Yeah, we're good on social. No other questions out there. But I'm glad you got to share the materials that
Yeah, I was wondering what happened to those slides because I saw it before. So, all right. So because you caught it and all that, we'll give you a raise.
thanks, yeah.
No, actually, you get to keep your existing salary. All right. Well, on behalf of Martin and Lance here, we thank you for attending. I know this is a very touchy subject, but before I forget, there's more information. We have, if you go to our website, askbuildingexpert.now.site. We have more information. In fact, there's 2 websites that we created. One is Lahaina Wildfire, and the other one is Rebuild Lahaina or something like that. I forget the exact title, but you can find it there. And I also wrote 2 books about the subject. I know the Lahaina Wildfire book is out. I'm pretty sure the Rebuild Lahaina book is out too. But are you sharing?
Yeah, I'm trying to share with that information for you. Let me see. I can find that.
The website is all the way at the end.
Yeah.
Are you looking for something else?
No, I'm just trying to get the slide presentation back up. Yeah. So yeah, here's all the materials and conclusion, and I think it was here. This is what you were talking about, the website.
Oh yeah. Okay. So go back one. Yeah, expert websites. We got a whole bunch of different websites. We got 2 on Lahaina.
Yeah,
So
let's see if there's.
yeah, then we have a blog.
Here you go. This is what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good thing you found it. So Rebuild Lahaina and Stand with Lahaina. The Rebuild Lahaina is lahaina1.com. And then the other one is standwithlahaina.now.site. Both of those are, well, the Rebuild Lahaina has information specific to rebuilding and all that. And Stand with Lahaina. It came out like soon after the fire, and we did this to help any Lahaina resident or anybody who wanted to get the information to rebuild. And then we also offer free consultation for rebuilding. If any homeowner needs help with what to do, what the next step is, who to contact, whatever, they can reach out to us. And we're friendly and here to help. So,
Okay,
Martin, go to the next slide, please.
that was our Q&A.
Oh, the next one. Is that the last
That's,
one?
that's the last one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, we're good then.
I think so. I'll go stop the share.
Yeah, okay. So good. You found stuff that was very helpful. And
Well, I'm glad.
otherwise, we would have ended early, then I could just take a break.
Nah, you can't do that.
Okay, so thank you very much for attending, and I know this was a very important. I mean, if you're not rebuilding, but you know somebody, refer them to the site or watch the webinar. Right? There's and hopefully this is helpful. I know there's a lot of people, especially in California, that could use the help too. So we're here to help. That's what we want to do, and hopefully we'll see you at the next webinar. We're talking about holiday safety. So until then, visit our website, go to our social media, check it out. Join the conversation. That's what it's all about. So we're not going to be on till December. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And I already ate my turkey, but I'm going to have another second Thanksgiving when Thanksgiving comes. All right. Aloha, mahalo, signing off. Thank you. I can't find my stop record.